Kevin, do you want to just comment on the multiple users issue that Laura mentioned, please?
Yeah, I can comment on that. Also, like you say, with I think a lot of the support calls, if we were honest, would be to be the speed of the circuit chart and people filling it out. But then once we show them a little bit of familiarity with it, then a lot of people said, well, okay, that makes sense. The big difference is here that is when you migrated from one system, you've gone to a new system, and if you hadn't seen the old and gone to the new, most people are finding that a lot easier. But where people have had the old system and they've had the entire 18 rows on the circuit chart, you know, like something that you get now is like you were just saying, where someone's filled down 10 rows of a circuit chart using the table, and then they've realised they've missed a spare, so they've deleted 8 rows to put a spare in. Well, if they add an empty row at the bottom and just drag it up into row 2, there's an immediate spare. But in the old system, you couldn't do that. So you'd still have the same issue. Although you've got a fill down, you could fill down an entire column of 18 rows. But if you make a mistake, you've still got to go back and delete it, whereas now you can just drag and drop. So there's swings and roundabouts. But yeah, a lot of people are saying it's slower to fill out the circuit chart and test result. On the multiple users, and certainly multiple users should be able to log into the same location, as long as they're not doing it as the same user account. So if I'm logging on as user 1 and Laura logs on as user 1, she's going to log me out, and anything she writes will overwrite what I've previously written. But if I log on as user 2 and Laura logs on as user 1, then we should be able to put notes into the same certificate. Although it may be that it's perhaps overwriting one change instead of appending 2. So we'll have to look into that. If I can collate as much information from Laura as where that's going wrong with the multiple users, then we can look into that certainly.
Yeah, go on, Laura.
Just going back on the drag and drop that you were talking about, I've used that quite a few times, but I've noticed that when you're dragging it, it just sometimes it just jumps back down. So then when you're actually previewing the certificate, what you've dragged is ended up at the bottom anyway. So it doesn't actually, like, mine always bounces back, and it takes about 4 or 5 times till it actually sticks.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a difficulty with differing internet speeds that will play havoc with the drag and drop. We are looking to improve that. But yeah, it does work if you persevere with it. But that's worst case scenario where we're talking about someone's missed a row and they want to get it up to the top. That's mainly editing mistakes, really. So yeah, it's certainly something we could look at improving on that drag and drop. Yeah, so again, collate, if you can chuck that in your email, Laura, and we'll sort of prioritise this, whatever we get from you, really.
Yeah, that was my thought on that one as well. It's probably just a little bit of a lag through the connection, and you know, it's when you get, you know, users like yourself, Laura, who once you get used to it can operate it pretty quickly. You're probably just opening it a little bit too quickly before the system has a chance to, you know, to catch up with what you've done. Sorry, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave, there was a couple of other things as well that I heard Gordon mention about the drop-down menus. In the previous version, we did have a lot of drop-down menus and information that was just at hand. A lot of the new stuff, you need a bit of background information and on occasion to fill out the information. For instance, overcurrent protection, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and B, C, D, but of course that's not telling you if it's an RCBO or a circuit breaker, so you might have to type in VSEN 61009. I think Keith was mentioning that point with the NIC, or VSEN 60898. Now, when you type that in, obviously what that's in there then, and it does fit in the box, but that's a point just to make that on the new system there are occasions where you have to you have to go and dig the information out and spend the time to fill it out. possibly, I would also say maybe taking time to set up templates that suit the organisation, the company that's using it as well, might be of benefit there. But initially, it's always going to take that extra bit of time to do that. So just to be aware of that there is quite a bit of information that you might have to source and input yourself. I don't know how the others feel about that, whether that is what they're experiencing.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bob. I think there's, you know, there is an element certainly with this system of you know, a little bit of preparation work beforehand would go a long way to making things easier as you progress through this system. Does anyone else have any comments relating to that at all?
I tend to use the remarks column to stick in what device it is, but you're also going to see your RCD times to differentiate between an MCB and an RCBO.
Okay. Any other comments before we move on? There's one other aspect that that I want to cover, and it's I think it's a point that Gordon has raised on several occasions. So before I'll just, anyone else got any other comments on that particular point before I move on? No.